What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I'm your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Hope everybody had a phenomenal day yesterday. We are about to take a look at our major markets from an educational perspective for breakouts, reversal opportunities, and just take a look at the overall market formations. Yesterday, we had a really strong rally up after kind of a pullback. And did we bottom? Do you think that we've bottomed? Do me a favor, comment down below. Do you think that we have hit the bottom of this most recent pullback? Or do you feel like there's more room to go? And tell me why. I want to hear your comments. Put it in the comment section down below. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. Taking a look first at the S&P. So when I look at the S&P, we have a really good supply level. The market's rallied up on Monday. Monday we had talked about the fact that we were going to be coming down and selling off. So if you were in the DMC on Monday, hopefully you were able to catch some of this big move down. But then we hit the bottom and rallied right back up. And we rallied back up to our opposing supply level before then selling off yet again. And then yesterday we rallied back up into that supply level again and sold off in the late afternoon. And now it looks like we're putting in a bit of a bottom pattern as we've broken through that area of supply. Now, that was a good supply area, worked twice. But oftentimes, if you get a level that works that many times, the third time is not going to be a charm. When I look at my 4-hour trend says, hey, listen, we've put in a higher swing low, but is the downtrend over? Not necessarily. I need to be able to send to a new higher swing high. So if you wanted to be, we're up about 1.5% this morning in the S&P. If you wanted to be a bit aggressive, you could look for a breakout trade somewhere up above here, or even a more recent one above where we were. If we get quality basing, there could be a breakout. From an intraday perspective, if we get a pullback into this region, you might actually get a retest into this region. Now, understand this. We're still not in an uptrend. We're still in a downtrend on the 4-hour chart. So that would still be a confirmation entry found on a 15-minute. But I think that could be a way to re-engage and catch a nice little day trade as we move back up. Remember that even strong down moves will have big green up days as part of it. And so, we're not certainly not out of the woods after Monday's huge reversal day on this big candlestick. Tuesday was pretty strong down. So far on Wednesday, we've rallied back up. And so, what would the next phase be? Well, the next phase, it would have to prove that we can get above some of these other swings for our downtrend to be over. And so I'm going to look at getting long at one of these pullback areas today, but knowing that my supply area up here on the hourly chart is still my best area on the chart, this wick over wick right here. But there's a lot of money to be made from this area here up to here if you're willing to manage your trades effectively. Looking at the NASDAQ, now the NASDAQ this morning, if I take a look at it, it's up over 2%. Also rallied into our supply level, got a really nice move away from that supply. Has a breakout trade above 14,583, and that, by the way, that's the level that we were looking at on Sunday night for a potential breakout, and it was a strong resistance point. So similar to what we have in the S&P, you do have this area here in the NASDAQ where there could be a decent reversal trade right in this spot. NASDAQ a little stronger than the S&P and a viable opportunity right through here. So those are the two, kind of major markets that from an equity perspective. If you want to take a look at the Russell 2000, the Russell, we had a very, very wicky bottom through here, right? Lots of lower wicks showing us that there was some buying pressure. The Russell, we've got a supply level up here in the 15-minute chart, and we're sitting right at a potential breakout point. So there is a little move that exists here from there to there. As you could get a little breakout trade, especially if we come down a little from here. Taking a look a bit lower, you got the origin of this move here, which was right around the London Open. And that's really, when we want to look for good opportunities, would oftentimes be right around that London Open. That's a great time of day to find these trades. The The Dow Jones also putting in a bit of a bottom, probably only up 1%. The S&P is up the Nasdaq is up the most today, and the Dow came down to this area of demand. We got a supply level here up above us. I certainly don't want to use that because we've come close to it, moved away, basing in front of it. So I don't want to use that supply area. I would look to see if there's basing for a breakout. But I think if you've got a breakout, then the Nasdaq's going to be a better market to trade that long position anyhow. Looking at our crypto markets, I want to take a quick look at our crypto markets. And we had a supply level here in Bitcoin that actually got blown through. And so that's the first supply level in Bitcoin that's gone blown through in quite a while. And so let's see if we start to put in a 4-hour uptrend. We have not yet put in a 4-hour uptrend as our trend is still down. So since our trend is still down, I'm going to look and see if we reverse at this level. We're at a very pivotal level when it comes to Bitcoin. And when I look at Bitcoin, I really want to focus on this area right in here. Let's see what we do right at this level. And the reason this level is important is because here's a prior support area. Old support oftentimes acts as new resistance. A little bit of basing in here before a very strong move away. And it's right at 40,000. So right around 40,000, do we get a reversal? If we get a reversal right around 40,000 and we start to head back down, then I think that we could easily continue to drop. We did come very close to the daily chart's gap fill. But overall, our trend is still down. We've not changed trend direction as of yet. Now, if we do change trend direction, then what we're going to want to do is splice into the uptrend utilizing a smaller time period. The Ether as well. We've got the Ether futures. We've got a little bit of sideways, strong move away. Price came up into there, blew through it. Didn't just annihilate it, but definitely broke through that area of supply. And our next area of supply is up here. And once again, just like Bitcoin, if we break through that supply, then we've shown, okay, we're starting to put in some higher highs. We've not done that as of yet. And so shorts are still, I think, the better way to go. Certainly a breakdown below here would be a really nice opportunity in Ethereum to get short. Looking at our crude oil markets. So crude oil, we can't seem to pop above this 87. Haven't quite gotten there as of yet. No retest to that zone. We thought we had a decent area of supply right here, this little drop-based drop. Markets came close to it without getting in. And so once you come close to it without getting in, price moved away. The second time through, it's got to be a confirmation entry, and we poked through the confirmation entry. So making it a little bit less probable on that opportunity. And so now I think the breakout trade is still the best way to go. If we look a bit lower on a smaller time period for a reversal long, you do have a little level right in here where I think we could see a reversal long on a retest area. That actually is a good fair price value area when we look at this area over here to the left. Looking at gold, we also see a very similar picture that we do to crude oil, in that the bigger time period is kind of gone a little bit stagnant. We're still in an uptrend, but we've slowed down, and it's very wicky, right? Lots of these wicks, and anytime I see a lot of these wicks, it makes me a lot more cautious. So I'm actually going to add anything in gold as of today. Taking a look real quick at the euro. So looking at our euro market, the euro on a 4-hour chart continues downward trend, a pretty strong downward trend on our 4-hour chart. So splicing back into that on a 1-hour time frame on a smaller chart, certainly my best level is going to be this area right here. I just don't know that we're going to retest that area anytime soon if we continue to drop the way that we have. And so I'm going to the 15. Now, when I go to the 15, what I actually see is the ability to tighten this level a little bit, and I don't see any good things to jump in on ahead of time. So for now, I'm going to leave this 15-minute level in play. We do have to be very cautious of what the Fed comes out and says. If the Fed comes out and says, hey, listen, we want to quell the market's fears, and I saw that yesterday. That there's not concern, but there's the Fed may come out and try to stop the market from falling. Well, at that point, then all bets are off, depending on what the news tells us, as it could burst through some of those areas and some of those levels. We see the Canadian dollar. We had a really nice 15-minute supply. Price hit it. We got like a 2-to-1 move away. So that supply level worked out really well. And then we had an hourly supply, and we got a little move away, and then 6 candles later, it had gone nowhere, telling you to get out. And so now that's 2 supply areas that have gotten traded through. So this third supply, no surprise, we're right in it, and we're not getting a big move away. If you're not in that supply, that short, I wouldn't take it at this point. And because we've broken through 2 areas of supply above us, I mean, it did respect those areas, but it definitely pulled back from them. If the current supply can get us a little bit of a pullback, especially into this region here, then I think you've got a chance to go long and ride the train back up. Now, I don't know that we're going to retest that area, but when I see supply levels being violated, I want to come back and look, okay, where can I get in on demand? Another way to think about supply and demand is when demand is being violated but supply is being respected, you're in a downtrend. When supply is being violated and demand is being respected, you're in an uptrend. And so when we're looking at the Great British Pound, the Canadian dollar, supply is being violated, and then the downtrends are and supply is being violated, and the demand levels are still being valid. All right, New Zealand dollar. So bounced off this area of supply, got a nice move away, hit it a second time, got a little move away, and so a third time would be unlikely. And so that's actually a setup for an upside breakout. So I would look for an upside breakout above this region here. You also have an opportunity for a downside breakout below this region here. So it actually sets up that we're in a bit of a range, and you've got a breakout trade one way or the other today, I think, in the New Zealand dollar. The Australian dollar, looking at the Aussie, bounced off of demand, got a really nice move away into supply, got a nice little move away. We're into that supply level for a third time. So I'm going to remove this demand. I'm going to remove this supply. And I think that similar to the New Zealand dollar, you've got a level that's been tested a couple of times with proper basing. I think you can get a breakout above this region with a target somewhere up here. I think this is still a good valid area of supply. Now, earnings season is upon us. And so taking a look at some of our earnings reports, the first one I'm going to start with is Microsoft. Microsoft did have earnings yesterday, and the earnings came out a little disappointing after hours, but the market's trading it up at $2.99. So Microsoft is trading higher as of this morning. Looks like we're going to open up right around 300 in Microsoft, which would be right up in here. So a little bit of a gap higher. Do I have any supply above me? I don't really have any quality supply on the daily chart above me until I get up into this region here where we have the origin of the most recent move down. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see a little Microsoft gap and go from here for a potential swing trade. Next, we're going to take a look. Amazon earnings are coming very soon, as we have Amazon earnings coming up in just a couple of days. We also have Google earnings coming up in a few days, and Apple earnings coming up in I think tomorrow actually. And for some reason, it's not pulling the date up at the moment. But this would be something to pay attention to, because if we do get a strong rally up out of these earnings reports, it could be a catalyst that can start to push us higher. I'm going to be a little cautious if we rally up. Where would be supply levels for reversals, because we're in a downtrend. But if those supply levels fail, then all of a sudden we could change trend, pretty quickly. And so one of the things that I want to just stress to everybody is don't be tied to fear because the markets are going down. And don't be tied to greed because the markets are heading back up. Just play what the charts give you, right? And today's a great example. The charts are still telling me that I'm in a 4-hour downward trend, right? They're still telling me that I'm in a 4-hour downward trend, but it doesn't mean that I'm not willing to take a flyer on a small time frame entry with minimal risk to the upside, because my downward trend is showing a bit of weakness, right? We put in a higher swing low. Here's our prior swing low. Here's another swing low. So we've put in a higher swing low. And my hourly chart is showing actually some new swing lows, and I've gotten above here for a new swing high. So there is a little bit of strength being shown, but it doesn't mean I'm ready to dive in bullishly either. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let the charts tell me what to do, leave my opinion out of it, and go the way it tells me. So hopefully this helps you. If you guys have any questions, give me an email, support@tradersarmy.com. Till tomorrow, everybody, I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Hey, thanks for joining us. If you like what we do, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's the only way the computers know that you're actually alive and really care. And go to tradersarmy.com today to learn a bit more. And if you want to see some of our other videos, click here in the box.